Mini Jake, the tribe has spoken.
Fuck you, Kevin.
Aw, fuck you too, sweetie.
I'm JJ, one of the original Tribe of Nerds members. You can catch me on Marvel, Pokemon, and other gaming podcasts.
What up? It's Josh, resident superhero nerd, but I also dabble in the occasional super villain as well.
Some may know me as the Chaos Gremlin, but really I'm just Joe King.
Pikachu, use Volt Tackle! Good job, Pikachu!
On the Tribe of Nerds. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. We're here for episode 5 of season 2 of Deal or No Deal Island, Shane, Kristin, and I, and we also have our guest, Kim, from season 1 of Deal or No Deal Island. Welcome to the Tribe of Nerds, Kim.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here and talk Deal or No Deal Island. It's fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. This is an interesting episode. A lot of interesting strategies that came into play here.
Now, before we begin everything with DONDI, I was told actually by Kristin, you were the one that told me we were having a meeting first. And so I brought my official weasel gear for it. And I learned the song and everything. Why aren't we starting the weasel meeting here? Okay, let's go, guys. I'm a weasel, you're a weasel, we're a weasel all. And when we get together, we give the weasel call. Okay, everybody, I'm a weasel. Come on. I'm a weasel, you're a weasel, we're a weasel all. And when we get together, we give the weasel call. We love you, Dixon.
Well, that's a great way to start the podcast.
Well, I mean, Mink is kind of weaselly. It's as close as I could come to the official weasel hat after I got my memo. So.
Oh my gosh, this is everything I ever wanted right now.
Let's talk DONDI!
Yeah, let's get into the episode.
Great segue.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, another crazy week on DONDI. We're coming off of a major high from the week before of Dixon getting $5 million. Kim, what was your thoughts going into that? To see $5 million to him to make this amazing deal. What was your thoughts?
I thought he did great at the Banker's Temple. The guy had ice running through his veins because I know how nerve-wracking it is to play against the banker. Mm-hmm. And Joe, here, let me talk. And I just have the feeling in an earpiece somewhere in DONDIism, someone was going, shit, 5 million. Okay, we got to get him out of there, guys. We can't. The insurance company's going crazy. He did awesome. And, my only concern for it is that I felt like I know you have to play ahead of the game, just like any reality show. You got to play ahead of the game. You got to have your next steps planned. And I felt he played ahead of the game, but I felt he played too far ahead of the game for the blind side that he ultimately did. Mm-hmm. And so I'm nervousing for him and his longevity in the game now. So, but for the episode as a player, I'm freaking. As a viewer, I'm like, you do that, Dixon. I'm here for it. And he actually messaged me and said, was that a Kim approved move? And I was like, abso-freaking-lutely. Let's do it.
It's so funny because Shane and I we talked last week. Shane and I have known Dixon for years now, and like we're sitting there as like the friends going, "Oh my gosh, this is so awesome!" But we too were like, "Okay, Dixon, like let's maybe take it down a couple notches here." So
yeah, no, you know what? He made a big move. He made great television for all of us reality freaks. He made great television and made you want to come back the next week and go, oh my God, what's going to happen to Dixon? What's going to happen this week? And we're seeing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
yeah. Shane, you want to kick us off with like the episode, how it starts?
Yeah, before we get there, the question for Kim to kind of get your perspective is, so Dixon brings back this 5 million, but like he also makes this move that gets people mad. But like, does bringing back such a high amount of money like give him favor? Like from your season, if people brought back money, were you like, oh, let's protect them for a while because they might do it again, or is it like, who cares?
Yes and no, because ultimately, yeah, you're building up the pot for the end, but ultimately only one person is playing for it.
Right.
So it does build favor to some degree. And my season, of course, you know, we were virgin players. We didn't know, especially like the first couple episodes. Okay, how's this run? How's this go? I remember walking through the tunnel, first time going into Banker's Temple, and we're all looking around going, holy crap. And we didn't know how to play it as well initially. Now that there's been one season under everyone's belt and they got to watch season 2, people got to watch season 1. But initially, I mean, Claudia and Rob were so pissed because I had the second Banker's Temple and Aaron had the first one and got 600,000. I had the second one and brought back 225,000. And they were like, if you had held out, you could have probably gotten one more. And I'm going, and I think I was the first one to really express it and say, wait, that would be great for the bank, right? But if I'm out of the game, what good does that do me?
Right.
And then everyone went, oh, okay, that's true. And then that thought process kind of started catching along. And then, of course, I ended up with the last laugh because Claudia banked whatever, 80,000 or something, and Rob banked not much either. Their two banks combined did not even equal mine that they were mocking me for. Right. So, you know, things changed and shifted. It's exciting when you're there and you see that number go up on the board. It's really impressive. Now, what he did was super impressive because the bank literally went tenfold. I mean, it went from 500,000 to plus 5 million. So that part, though, is impressive that he had the big case. That was so awesome. I was happy for him.
Yeah, and to come down to like the last two cases on the board being the two highest is so impressive. And also to your, I was going to bring up, you brought it up. I was like, if Boston Rob's the one complaining about your case and he brought back like 40,000 or even less, like he took the first offer, which is smart for his odds, but and then I know what he did.
But that episode, that was my demise. And coming into the temple, I already knew, he knew, everybody knew either I was going home or Rob was going home that night. And Rob played it right by taking the low offer in order for me to go home. Otherwise, he's out of the game.
Right.
Yeah.
So, well, he wouldn't have been, but we didn't know it at the time, obviously, with his case amount. But, you know, the banker could have sneezed 100,000 and Rob would have still been in the game. But God, it was a fun ride up till then. Rob and I.
Let's forget about that part.
Yeah, but it was a good, you know what though? I had 4 episodes and I had a lot to say in those 4 episodes and a lot of game in 4 episodes. So I was an early out, but Rob and I'll always have our headbutting experience together. Boy, he did.
Wow. Rob headbutting with people. Who would have
Yeah,
thought?
that's
Who would have
shocking.
thought it? But
Who
you know,
would've
I
thought
mean, my Christmas card this year said she's the most dangerous player in this game, Rob Mariano. Because, you know, when Rob calls you that in the first episode, it's like, and I didn't know it until I actually saw the episode. And I was like, oh my God, that's like Christmas card holiday greetings. I'm so flattered that Rob, of all people, you know, saw that and recognized that early on. And we just couldn't play together. I was never going to trust him, and he was never going to trust me at all. So it came down to it, and it was a fun ride while it lasted. And I'd do it all over again, and I'd go after him again. But season 2, I wouldn't play it the same way. They've got, you know, we had one gamer and one celebrity with Claudia.
Yeah.
But this season, they've got 3 gamers, and they've got 3 amazing gamers. And I've had people constantly ask, well, how would you have played this? I'm like, Parvati, she would be gone early. Will is so charming and so diabolical, but at the same time you hate him, right?
So
And
Understates it.
we're going to talk so much about Will in this
oh my
podcast
God.
today, but woo!
Yeah. And so I'd be like, yeah, he's not sticking around long either. David, I would have kept, even though David is one of the most vicious, villainous players I have ever seen. I would have kept him, because I even told some of our other Dondi people, I said, I'll bet you, this is cast release before the game started. I'll bet you nobody knows who David is, with the possible exception of Parvati. But even so, the Survivor US players traditionally have not followed any of the international survivors. And yeah, there's a couple of them from South Africa I would love to see play Dondi. Yeah. But I had seen all the Survivor Australia too, because, you know, I'm weird like that. I would have known who he was, and I would have kept his secret, and I would have had him protecting me, because I would have spilled that so fast and so hard. And I would have played dumb around him to a certain degree. And then I would let him know, oh, by the way, yeah, I know you. And you need to be nicer to Shawnee. And just so he would know that I knew who he was. And I would tag him for as long as I could. Because as soon as he starts getting physical, and I assume we're going to see this happening pretty soon, he's going to win. He's going to win the excursions, which means he's going to control the game. And if he's controlling the game and I'm on his side, I'm staying in.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but then again, he also is good for that. So
Yeah.
who knows? But yeah, I would definitely play it way different with who they have now than who I had.
Yeah. I think it's very fortuitous timing for Parvati that she knows who he is, because I think they went on another season together a little after this, so she was catching up on Australian Survivor. But if it weren't the case, I don't think she knows who he is.
She said she did not know who he was, and then they did the when she signed the contract and started looking people up, and then she knew who he was, and she gets there. And there he is. Now she's just signed a contract for Australia versus the world. And so has he, right? And he knows who she is. And now she knows who he is. I said at first, she's not going to turn on him and he's not going to turn on her for as long as they can.
Right.
Because 2 weeks after filming Dondi, they're off to Australia versus the world. Do you want to start that game with an enemy in the opposite camp?
No.
No. So I knew that they were going to suck up. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's kind of to have like especially three massive players like you're talking about, Kim. It's like I can't imagine being on that beach as just kind of like a regular Joe Schmo and like how it's not only just like dealing with like, oh, I'm a reality TV fan and I know these people, but now like how do I play with them? Because like the fangirl comes out, but also I'm trying to beat them so I can get all this money. So I mean, I think, three of them, I feel like three might have been too much, but teach their own, we're having fun with it. So
Yeah.
I had another Survivor player say to me actually this morning that they wouldn't be surprised to see a 50-50, like a fans versus favorites kind of thing, next season or the season after for DONDI.
Mhm.
And I said, you know what? I'd be okay with that. I actually would. But right now, well, this season they've got 14 because of Will coming into the game. There were 14 players total. But last season we had 13. This season was basically 13 max at the whole time because Will didn't come in till Luke was out.
Right.
So with 13, I said I'd be okay with a fans versus favorites kind of thing if they did 7 favorites and 6 fans because, or I'm sorry, other way around, 7 fans and 6 favorites.
Yeah.
Because the favorites kind of have an advantage. They've already done the TV thing. They know how to play comps, things like that. So I think the fans having a 1-player advantage would be interesting to see how the fans or how the favorites would maneuver that.
Yeah.
It's like you'd have to get numbers on your side to keep people safe. How are you going to do it? Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
I know.
I definitely think they might do that because I had read rumors before the season filmed that it was going to be 50-50. I don't know the truth to that, but I was definitely expecting more than just 1, and we got 3.
For this season. Yeah, I mean, they're pushing things along. Of course, we don't have the renewal notice for season 3 to happen, but it'll happen. It'll happen.
Yeah.
The numbers are there. And that's all that really matters to them. So
when I was gonna bring up also, that reminds me of Australian Survivor doing heroes versus villains, and I believe the newbies did have an advantage there. Now they did end up with the final 3 of all newbies there, but the returnees were dominating that season through most of it. So
absolutely. So it's going to be fun to see how they progress. I'm loving the challenges this year. The excursions that they're sending them on have been great. And I think a little bit more fair. There's something that anybody could win again. And I really like that. And they're original and creative. We're not seeing the same thing. Again, we only have 2 seasons. So it's, but they do a lot of mind game twists in it, which I like because it keeps everybody on their toes. You got to keep thinking.
Yeah, I was gonna say I agree with that. Like, I really like that they've upped the strategy component in the challenges. Because I feel like season 1, you're all like kind of creating the game and determining like how to strategy play in, and here they're kind of forcing it a little bit, which I like that.
Well, think about Survivor when it started, and everybody was new. Nobody knew exactly how do you play things, and then you have Richard Hatch step up and form alliance, right? I think we're kind of seeing that same transition from season 1 to season 2 on DONDI, in that you now have people that have seen it and are really kind of molding what we might see more this season, as well as ideas for production to come up with coming into season 3. And the executive producers, and they're phenomenal. They are so good. And one of the I don't know if I should say his name. I mean, it's on the TV, so I guess I can. But Matt Kunitz is one of the EPs, and he was the executive producer for, oh my God, I just went blank on it. I can see their intro. The one, Fear Factor.
Oh, okay.
He was executive producer for Fear Factor.
Wow.
So that's why I think you see some things where you go, oh my gosh, that's so Fear Factor-ish. You know, the rats and the crabs and all that stuff. Yeah, it is. And there's a reason for that. So, you know, and Matt is really good, top-notch, super professional, and absolutely loved the production crew. So I'm not surprised to watch them progress, and it will continue. It will. They're not stale people.
But yeah, you can even see like the players learning a bit, because in season 1, I mean, I don't know that there were like huge strategic moves made at Temple, but the one that kind of laid the inkling for it, I think, was when you took out Jamil. And now we just saw Dixon make a pretty crazy move last week, and I feel like that's going to shift the trajectory of the season. And we saw another blindside this week.
Yeah, they were really shocked. They knew I was a super fan. They of reality TV. They knew that. But when really it started within the first hour of filming, excuse me, when the banker's offer came in for $10,000 to go out and get that red case, and I'm like, here we go, because I already knew Rob wanted me out, because the initial thought was build money for the pot. And he even said to other players, it's like, she's not going to be able to bring in big cases. Well, whatever. If I can't play with the physicality, I've got to play with the mental, right? And when I went there, he was so mad, and they cut so much out, but I was bartering to find out who had the $1 million case, which Dawson ultimately ended up owning up to, because I said to them up there, while I'm out there wallowing around in the mud, if nothing else, I saw who the first 5 or 6 people were to be up on the platform. You're not going on the platform if you don't have a big case, right? Which made Rob nervous, because Rob was like the second one up there. So it started with that in the first episode, and the producers were like, we were not expecting strategy play this early on in the game. You were supposed to just go out and get a case, bring it up, and open it up. Yeah, that didn't happen. And then taking out Jamil, because and then I loved Jamil, and I wanted to work with him so bad, and I did it on purpose when I brought up Rob's name, because I already knew where I stood with Rob. So someone going to Rob doesn't mean diddly squat to me, other than who's doing it, right? And so when I said Rob's name, and boom, out in the water, Rob, Kim's bringing up your name. And I'm sitting up there and I'm watching this going, I'm not stupid. I can't believe he's doing this right. Go over by the showers. At least try and be. No, he went right out there. And it's like, I've got to take out. I was taking out either Nick or Jamil. And I felt like Nick I could play with. Jamil, no, you're reporting. You're the vice president. No, you're gone. Until we got to Temple. And on that excursion was a $20,000 personal offer. Everybody else split it, but Alyssa didn't split it with me. So she kind of moved up the rank as a possibility if I beat the banker. And Claudia, when she spoke up at Temple, and I was like, oh, I hope Claudia's wrong. And she was like, well, that's rude. Check. Okay, let's talk. So when I beat the banker, as much as I wanted to keep Jamil, emotionally, I wanted to get rid of either Claudia or Alyssa. And I made I still believe I made the right decision there. But God, that was hard because I wanted to keep Jamil. But strategy. Yes, season 2 is bringing so much more strategy.
Yeah, absolutely.
They know how to play more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think because you said it best. Like, you guys were like, you didn't know what to expect when you're coming on Deal or No Deal Island. You didn't really, you know what I mean? You guys were learning as you go. Now they have kind of somewhat of a blueprint, but like to really kind of make it into your own. So I feel like you guys were like the pioneers of Dondi. Now we have season 2 that's going to be like the new blueprint that people might follow moving forward and then creating more into their own. But I think that was season 1 became the pioneer that opened the doors for it, and season 2 is going to be the one that's kind of people are going to mold their games after it, I think, a little bit. So
yeah, and if you think back in the Survivor era and you see that progression through the seasons, I think we're going to see more and more of that through Dondi. You know, people 100%. Are going to be on season 3 going, okay, I want to play like and have people from season 1, but I really want to be more strategic like someone from season 2.
Right.
So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to watch it as a Dondi virgin in season 1. I am excited to see where that, and I haven't been able to say something like that in the last 50 years. So I'm really excited to see where that goes from here.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I mean, because I too watched Deal or No Deal back with Howie Mandel when it first came on. It was funny because Dixon was like, Anna was case number 10. And I was like, I know their names too. I'm the freak.
I did too. It's like, oh my God, she was the cute Swedish one.
She was a little blonde. Yeah, no, but it was so funny because I was like that fan too. So it's fun. I'm excited to see where Deal or No Deal keeps coming on because it's going to be a great show. So
I agree. I can't wait.
Because I mean, any of us who are watching back in the day, did we ever think there'd be a reality TV version of it? Like,
no,
no,
not a chance.
No. And Deal or No Deal was so much about the story as much as the game, and Dondi has carried some of that story in, but has made the gaming stronger and the lead up to the who's playing it and all of that. It's not just some random guy who brought 3 family friends to encourage him and advise him. No, we got no friends advising us. Trust me.
You're on your own.
You're on your own. And yes, we're going to cheer for the low amounts because, you know, and we're going to cheer for the high amounts because, you know, and so and so much of it's fake cheer, like when Will pulled case number 6 and Maria Grace MG was like, yay. That made me laugh so hard.
I too am with MG on this. Like, I'd be like, oh, whatever.
Yeah. And it was a low amount and she's like, yay. and you're just going, so not sincere, MG.
Well, let's jump into this episode because there was a lot to unpack. I mean, obviously, the beginning, we see kind of the aftermath of Dixon. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, you're so awesome. 5 million, like, you're so incredible. But we also see that there's tension here. We have, like, Seychelles, like, calling him out. We got other people that are like, we're targeting the family. Like, this is done. Like, we need to take care of this. A lot of different interactions here. Jake, Shane, Kim, where were your guys' thoughts on why targeting the family, good or bad? What side's going to win out? Where are your guys' thoughts going into kind of this different?
I can see why they're mad, of course, because it's something surprising, but also we know the family is a clear alliance, but do we really know where the other alliances are? I mean, I feel like it's not as set in stone, or at least the edit's not showing it, but they did show, like you mentioned, Seychelles was mad and she was talking to like CK and Letty, so presumably they're kind of working together to get the family. And are they thinking strategically versus emotionally? I feel like they're thinking more emotionally, and are they potentially making a wrong move going for the family? Who knows? Because whenever you play with your emotions versus your head, you have the potential to make wrong moves. But the interesting thing with this show is luck plays a role, and like someone like Parvati is safe every single week. Like, you literally can't target her, and as we'll see, the family is not able to be targeted.
Well, one that we're still trying to figure out how she was in the family is targeted, but yes.
We were still trying to figure out from last week what was going on with the edit and why it left out how Maria Grace got into this.
I'm calling MG, I'm calling her like the redheaded stepchild because she randomly shows up. You can tell that they care about her, but like don't really care. They're like, oh, you're like dispendable to us. But yeah, like I'm still trying to figure out how she wormed her way into this family
It
unit.
seems like her and David have a bond, but like they also barely showed that, but they're at least telling us that it's the case. So maybe
Yeah.
David somehow brought her in, but it's still weird to me.
Yeah.
I think it was kind of a combination of David and Dixon. I think Dixon had a hand in pulling her into family conversations. You know, he was the one who invited his school crush over for Thanksgiving dinner with the family.
That's who she is, the school crush.
so that his family could get to know her. Because if the family accepts her, okay, now I can approach this. So I think she was the Thanksgiving dinner date.
Okay, I like that better than the redheaded stepchild. You are correct. I agree.
And but at the same time, I think that the right play for her was last week when they were telling Storm to draw her in. We already knew, even without seeing it, that she was being pulled towards the family, and they were trying to get her away from the family, and Storm was their lever for that. And he didn't work it hard enough and make it happen. So, you know, so when he was gone,
session came just a little too late.
Right.
Exactly. You know, they didn't bring out the sweet potatoes fast enough. And then then this week, now we get to see her interacting with the family more. Well, why? Because they're an alliance and she knows that she doesn't really have anybody. So I don't think it was a bad idea for her to go with them. I think what was bad was what happened later on in the game, in the excursion.
Yeah.
Is where I think she made a fatal mistake. Pardon my cat. If he decides he's going to lick his butt, let me know so I can get him off camera. Okay, Benny?
It's not appropriate for the camera. No, it's totally fine. I have a zoo at my house too.
He's smelling my weasel hat. That's the problem. He thinks it's a new friend.
He's like, oh, let's hang out. That's going to be his Thanksgiving dinner date. It's going to be the
exactly. My cat is going to bring a mink cat to Thanksgiving this year, and bring him into the family.
Bring him into the family.
The creepy Muppet family.
Yeah, speaking of weasels, that's where we see Will kind of in front of everybody call Dixon a weasel. And it's a little funny because I feel like Will is a schemer as well. And it's like a spade calling a spade a spade. I mean, he's probably a weasel too. And I mean, he showed this episode. He did the same thing.
I'm a weasel, you're a weasel, we're a weasel all. Come on, Will.
Yeah. No,
let's admit it.
This is where I listen. Will, plug your ears.
We go.
I did not tell you to drown yourself in the ocean a couple episodes ago, but still plug your ears, Will. Listen, Will, I know that this is all an act because this is what Will does, but the biggest baby throwing a tantrum, walking out of temples, walking out of excursions because, oh, I didn't get my way. Ugh. He is insufferable. I'm sorry. I cannot. This is where I would be like, I'm taking him out and this is where the emotions would come in, that we're talking about is that's not when you're really technically making a good decision because obviously Will's on everybody's nerves. But man, this is where an island would come in handy. I couldn't be in a Big Brother house with him. I would be in jail. I need to go walk the beach and to go collect some seashells or something because Will was, it's like he was trying so much to be a big character in this episode or even just on the island that now you're just becoming an idiot because no one wants to listen to you cry and whine about it anymore. That was where I got even him going into the temple of I'm going in, I want to do this as it's just, I feel like even him with this whole, I'm hitting the button. Oh, but Joe, you didn't say deal or no deal. And
Yeah,
I'm like, I just want to punch you in the face.
You know what? You gotta hate Will, but at the same time, okay, so viewer side of me is going, okay, entertaining to a certain degree, but now I'm over it. But gamer side of me,
Yeah.
as it comes up, I'm on the phone with a friend watching it live, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, he walked away from the excursion to evoke a reaction.
Yeah.
Okay. From somebody, don't know who yet, but from somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're all like, where's Will? Where's Will? And then, oh, okay, good. He's gone, blah, blah, blah. He got the reactions that he needed for the game, for strategy.
Yeah.
And I do believe that he did all this for strategy. When he walked away from the temple, I think that's truly, I think that's the one time that Will was actually remorseful for his action, for what he did. And because he was apologizing to to MG. And the whole weasel thing, that's what he was doing. He needed to see. He was only there for a couple days at this point, right? He didn't really know who was where with who, other than the fact they were all against him. So who's the least against me that I can actually play with? Because, it's entertainment first for all three of them. Okay. It's about the TV show. And yay, if I win, that's bonus, right? I don't think any of them.
Bonus now, thanks to Dixon.
Right. Much bigger bonus, or a chance at a much bigger bonus.
Yes.
So I can totally see even the thing at Temple where he pushed the button and said, no, Joe, the rules are it's official when you ask deal or no deal. And I know there was a producer in his ear going, oh my God, what do we do? What do we do? Because Joe's reaction was very authentic. Mm-hmm. I don't think that was acting. I think the producers probably knew what was going on, what Will was going to do. I don't think Joe knew. So when that happened, there's someone talking in the ear going, okay, let him go for a little bit. Let him go for a little bit. And then ask, you know what? Those are the rules. So in that case, and opens it up, deal or no deal. Yeah. And then when he goes, no deal. But in the meantime, how much information did he get from the reaction of the other castmates? Right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I sat here and pondered this last night though, like as we were watching, and I'm like, I don't really get. We all know that he is hated by them. Right. What information are you gathering here that you don't really already know? You know that they're mad because you took deal on a low amount, but we've seen from season 1, Rob and they've done that. Like I just felt like this was just over the top Will, because I don't feel like he gathered too much new information, maybe confirmed information. But I don't know if he necessarily got new information, because I feel like I didn't see anything different than what they've already been showing. Again, we only see a little bit of an edit, so I know that goes into a huge part of it. But like I fooled all of you, and I did, and I'm like, oh my God, please shut up.
But I know, but he made a deal with them, right? That he would take out MG.
Yeah.
Right. But in his heart, he wanted to take out CK.
Right.
So I think that the reactions at Temple were very telling for him to be able to look at Letty to see, was she playing me or telling me the truth? To look at all of them, really, at Letty, at Seychelle, at Philip, and all of them, and get a read of, do I take out MG to break up the family? Or am I better off taking out CK? But bottom line is, if he took out CK, right, and left MG in, number one, the family's still intact and they all still hate him. Number two, now it's not an alliance. I think it was just an agreement for him. And now he's got them all pissed off. Who's going to save Will? Well, now with the way he played it, the only ones that are truly against him are now just David, Parvati, Dixon.
Yeah.
So I think that Temple was very telling in him doing that.
Yeah. I agree with that. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, but I've been entertained by Will just because like someone is flashy or over the top. I tend to like enjoy them. So
he makes me laugh. He really does. He makes me laugh. So I'm okay with it right now to a degree.
I would say this episode for me made me confused by who he is as a person, because I'm like, how do you like, this is just crazy to see someone acting like this, and like you're one of the greatest strategic minds, but also you're throwing a temper tantrum because you didn't get your way in the challenge, but you wanted to lose the challenge and you lost the challenge. So like, what is it? Like, why are you mad?
Personally, I think that was ego, because I honestly think and I could very well be wrong, but I honestly believe that he wanted to not only be in the bottom, but he wanted to drop Dixon, who's scared of heights, and he wanted to drop him. And the fact that Dixon pulled it too at the same time kind of took the wind out of Will's sails, or put attention on Dixon, who already had big attention last week. And it's like, wait, I'm the star of the show. And he pulled it. So I think it could be just kind of a combination of both of those.
Yeah. Speaking of this excursion, I mean, Kim, I want to pick your brain a little bit, because I know we talked about it a little bit last night, but you're on opposite sides. You don't have to tell the truth. We do start seeing some of these friendships coming out a little bit of like, okay, I want to make sure that you're in control because I want to be safe. But then the other one's like Lachelle, she was like, I've been in the bottom every time. And Letty's just not, like, no pun intended, letting up. You know, it's like, I'm clever sometimes, Shane. I love that.
That was a good pun. I liked it.
But
that was a good one.
Could have pulled. That was the thing. Like, they were at the thing. Lachelle could have just done it, but she felt like she owed it to Letty, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But I know we talked about, and Shane and Jake, I know you guys, after Kim says it, spilled kind of what your thoughts are on it. But Kim, where are you at? Do you tell the truth? Do you work together? Do you say, oh, sure, you can have the big case and I'll be in the bottom? Where are your thoughts going on in this excursion?
For the two of them, I felt bad for Lachelle, and just like for Dixon. You don't like heights and you're being hoisted at, 80 feet up in the air. I think that they did the right thing, okay? Because on level 6, Lachelle had the higher amount. Lachelle would have been in control. They were the first ones out. Somebody else was going to get that 300, okay? Simple as that. Because that was really a guaranteed amount. Didn't matter whether both pulled, one pulled, the other pulled, it didn't matter. You open the cases, the higher amount is safe. So I think that she did the right thing by sucking it up there and knocking out the 2 top cases so that nobody else could get them, because then you've got the unknown. It's like, if somebody in the family gets the highest ones, then they're controlling and one of us is going up. And that's true. It would have happened that way. So I think they did the right thing strategically. If I were up there, would I have lied or told the truth? It depends on who I was partnered with. Okay. If I were partnered with, if I were Dixon partnered with Will, go ahead and lie. Who cares? And you're already not with it. Like if it were me and Rob up there, I'd lie my ass off knowing he is going to lie to me just as hard. So now it's a question, who's lying more? I didn't like Philip's lie because it's like, why are you saying 1.5 million when your case is 1.6 million.
Right.
Right.
That's no different. And they both lied to each other. And now you see where the trust is. He's like, I trust her as a friend. I don't trust her in the game now.
Right.
Yeah, I don't get that though, because I'm like, why are you mad at her for lying when you lied too?
Right.
They were both kind of they were both each other because of that, which I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see that come into play next week, maybe the week after. I don't know. Yeah. But I think we're going to see that where Philip and Parvati, who have, they've partnered up every time you got to pick your own partner. Right. I can see them looking to take the other one out because they don't trust them.
Right.
Yeah, they have a very interesting relationship to me because, like you said, they've partnered in all these challenges, and made strategic moves in the challenges. But at least from what we see in the edit, they're not talking strategically outside of the challenges. Like, they don't seem to be working together. It's only in the excursion. So I don't fully get their relationship, or maybe it's just the edit. Who knows?
Yeah,
it's probably why he's not an adopted child into the family.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she did say she loves him, but he's not strategic. So she more has him. He's the neighbor that comes over and hangs out.
Yeah,
he is. He's the annoying. He's Eddie Haskell. He's the friend. You have to be old enough to remember Leave It to Beaver, have seen he's Eddie Haskell, who comes over and annoys the hell out of the parents.
Yeah,
but is kind of endearing, so you deal with it, but you don't really like it. I think that's Philip to the family.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, Philip also got a big spike in airtime tonight with, given his backstory, which I thought was interesting to share that now, 5 weeks into this season. So
look at his outfit. I think that was taped probably day one.
That makes sense.
We're pretty confident, Kim, that that last week's episode was supposed to be like 2 weeks later. Yeah. Like, where's all this information coming from? So
if you watch what people are wearing, okay, because I am, and the only reason I'm saying that is at the very beginning of season 1, episode 1, and I said, if I'm thought of as a villain, so be it. I'll own it, right? Mm-hmm. Look at my outfit. I'm wearing the pink and white dress I was wearing the night at the temple when Rob eliminated me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That was actually a confessional from after I was eliminated. And they asked me, the story producers asked me, so do you think you're thought of as more of a hero or as a villain? And I remember telling them, I think I'm going to be thought of as a villain for going after Rob. But if I'm thought of as a villain, so be it. I'll own it. Wow. So that's what I'm saying. Watch these outfits, you guys. You want clues of when these things were taped?
I just assumed you guys were only allowed to have a limited number of clothes, and so you just wore the same outfits over again.
No. Wardrobe took our clothes, our temple clothes, at least day one, so that they could make sure they were pressed and nice and neat and clean. We had to hand over the jewelry in a Ziploc bag with our outfit for temple and our shoes for temple. And then they, on day of when we were going to temple, we would find out then what we were wearing that night, because like they weren't going to have me wearing a flowered dress sitting next to Claudia, who's wearing a flowered dress.
Right.
That's why I was wearing solid blue the night that I took out Jamil, because Claudia and somebody else, there were 2 people that had prints, and they're like, yeah, no, we need you guys in solids so everything coordinates. They coordinate all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we didn't know.
I know we've heard that from, even just at tribal councils and things like that too, with Survivor and whatnot. So
yeah,
obviously exactly. not the people in the jury is what I meant to say. I don't think they can coordinate like scraps of clothes that they've been wearing for Whatever.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, here, we need to put more mud on you.
Well,
As Sue will say, just start caking it on.
well, Survivor, at least they do coordinate, like at the beginning of the season, putting people in the same color as their tribes. So,
Right.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, they say bring predominantly red.
Right. You may or may not be on the red team. We don't
You
know.
may not you may not be on a red tribe, but bring red or in the
Bring
red
red.
tones.
Oh my gosh.
I had to say red because of the Survivor flag behind you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's it's interesting how they do that and how they plan all of that, and wardrobe. I mean, there's 3 or 4 people, and every outfit Joe has on, there's a duplicate backstage. And they have they have their steamer right there on the set so that they can steam and make sure everything's creased well. It's very interesting. The behind the scenes is something else. Something else. Same thing with Ben and Kamari. No. Everything's coordinated.
Yeah,
Where are
definitely.
we going to next? Oh, where'd Kristin go?
Don't know. Shane, what do you have to say?
Before we move on from the challenge, I want to bring up one point. So we were mentioning, or Kim, you were talking about how Lachelle and Letty, their strategy, because they saw that high case of 3 million. Do they know what the highest case is? Like at the beginning, are they saying here's the range of cases there are, or did they not know whether 3 million is the highest?
You know what? In this excursion, I'm not 100% sure if they knew or not. I'm assuming no, because their cases were being revealed to the 2, not to the entire group. So I'm assuming they did not know if 3 million was the highest or not. But based on the previous challenge, so you've got 5 million and what was it? 5,225,000 combined for the top 2. I'd be looking at that going, okay, slight increase from the highest case last week, which was 5 million. Therefore, I would assume that level 7, and if we take out both of those, I'd be surprised if there would be one higher than that. Could be, but I'd be surprised.
That's smart. It takes like so much thinking going into the challenges, it seems like, because you have to like remember what happened in the past, run the numbers, and then also think about the specific strategy of this challenge. So they're really complicating it on those plays.
Absolutely. And by the way, I love that they put GoPros on their helmet for that perspective, because we didn't have GoPros on our helmets in season 1.
Really?
So I liked that. They whipped out the budget this year. NBC did it upright. But I thought the GoPro, the drone shots, we had those, but we did not have GoPros on the helmets. So that was good. I like that addition.
No, I like the production seems to be learning and improving from the past season to make this one better, which I'm sure season 3 will be even better than this. And I know when everyone keeps hyping this season up and saying it's not the best DONDI season, it's the best season of reality television, which to me that remains to be seen. But it's
Kristin, welcome back.
So sorry, had an emergency. We're all good.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
Nothing serious. Sorry, DONDI time.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, Shane. I agree with you on that. They're hyping it up. I think we're on an uphill trajectory for this season right now. This episode was technically, because she got 10th, was my episode, my elimination episode. And we saw the trajectory change and kind of up and down in season 1. So far, I think I've seen a nice progressive incline, not only in entertainment value, but in strategy and gameplay. And so watching that, it's going to take a lot for it to keep going like this and not have, a cliffhanger up there where someone falls off the cliff. And I think they've got that. I think it's going to be a solid uphill trajectory right up to the finale.
Yeah.
Agreed.
No, I agree. But also, Kim, you found out our secret. That's why we asked you on this specific episode, because we knew it was technically your elimination episode, even though it wasn't the same episode number. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It's going to definitely continue to progress. I think.
Yeah.
I said it earlier tonight. Like, we have the stepping stone, the pioneer, which was season 1, and then kind of the strategy behind its, kind of becoming the blueprint, if you will. So.
Right.
I'm excited to see where we end up from here. I'm hoping to see a Dixon winning moment just because he's a friend, but that man made a name for himself there, not in a good way sometimes.
Yeah. You know what, though? Everyone's going to remember Dixon's name.
True.
Yeah.
True.
A season from now, 2 seasons from now, 10 seasons from now.
Yeah.
People will remember Dixon no matter where he places, because the winners aren't always remembered. Okay.
Yeah.
But the moves, the television drama, things like that, those things are what's remembered more so than who won. Yeah. Unless you're like a super freak fan who memorizes boot orders of every episode of every Survivor ever in the history.
Jake.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Jake, tell us about that.
Yeah.
To bring up even a point, obviously it's still being remembered. Even last night, you had Letty, Lachelle, and CK on a live on Instagram with Dixon there, and the feelings of just like very not niceness of over Storm being taken out. And I'm like, this was months ago, and you guys like have probably had all this time to like bury the hatchet. Like, obviously everything is still gonna be remembered. I'm sure there's still stuff that, Boston Rob and you, there's still, you know what I mean? So not even just in the placement of it, but everything that goes into a game, the emotions of it and everything we always say are so real. So
yeah, I think it's a little different with season 2 than season 1, just because for the most part, everything in season 1, once we saw back the show and got over the I can't believe you said that about me in a confessional stuff that, of course, we don't see until the show comes out.
Right.
But like Jamil was the first person the second person. Branson was the first person where it's like, okay, I beat the banker, you're out of here. And that's a hard thing to do, by the way. And then me doing it to Jamil and I get along great. He is, oh my God, he's so fantastic. I absolutely love him. I've met his sister. They're just good people. And he was mad at me the first day after I was out, but after that he was like, okay, let's kick back. Let's have our beers. We've talked about it. We've seen it. Let's go. Because he knew that he's like one of my favorites. I don't think we're seeing as much of that. I think we see a little more animosity with the season 2 people. And I don't know if it's because there's more influencers and people wanting hits on Instagram and stuff. Like, I don't know the reason for it, but there does seem to be a little bit more animosity with this group, and that may subside as time goes on.
Yeah.
And it may stay real, and we'll see them later on in a rivals type game. Who knows?
That would be fun.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them. That would be a lot of fun.
Oh man, gosh, could you imagine? No, but I mean, I also though too, like I do 100% agree with you, Kim, on that. But I don't know if Jake and Shane, how your feelings were. I know we've kind of briefly touched on her. I feel like a lot of this comes from like Seychelle. She seems to have a chip on her shoulder from day one, minute one. I feel like maybe even if there are those hurt feelings and things like that, people could move on, like a you and Jamil, to be like, let's get back and have a beer. But it keeps being fueled and brought up moment by moment. Be like, remember that one time on the island when they did this to you? Like, how does that make you feel? You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's my thoughts on Seychelles. But Shane, Jake, what do you think of
I
her?
guess with Seychelles, she's definitely like boxed in as a certain type of character. And now
Yeah.
that I think about it, like, have they ever showed her smile?
No, that's what I'm saying. She's
I-
just those like Debbie Downers.
Yeah,
Seychelles, a New Yorker.
Mm.
And if you know, I mean, I married a New Yorker. I divorced a New Yorker. It was the same person, by the way, and lived in New York. And New Yorkers are a whole different breed. They love hard and they hate hard, okay? But they don't tend to show the emotion of it. Seychelles is a New Yorker and she is not showing the emotion of it. It's like you've got to have this protective glass barrier between us because I'm not going to let you hurt me. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how it is. They're very direct and very forceful with things. And you can be direct right back to them. They're not going to hate you for being direct. I promise. But Seychelles is a true New Yorker, and you saw it from episode 1. And even she said that when Storm left, she said, I wanted to let out a tear, but I wasn't going to ruin my mascara.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how she is. And either you love it or you hate it. And she doesn't really give a damn about either one of those, whether you love her or hate her.
Yeah. I mean, I think that'll be more evident that as time goes on. And I mean, we already know that she's going to have a blow up with CK. We saw that from early previews.
Yeah.
I think it's next week.
I think it's next
it
week
might
too.
be. I don't know.
When she, in the trailer, the original trailer, she's like, you're nothing but a cheat. And then next week's preview talks about cheating. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's giving us throwbacks to season 1. So we'll see what happens here on season 2 and who it is.
Yeah.
There was, I saw it today. It's weird that it came out like today, but a written interview with Storm. I forget which magazine it was for, but he mentioned that CK cheated in the axe throwing challenge, where she looked at his list of who he ranked, and he was like, oh, she's going to do it again in another challenge, which is probably coming up.
Uh-oh.
Well,
dun, dun, dun. Where's my organ music?
The fun drama.
Here.
I feel like
Weasel
Donnie
move.
also is giving us so much of their like in their. You might as well just watch a preview and you probably have the whole episode figured out. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a weasel move coming up. Be careful.
Well, I don't know. I mean, people should just say, be like Will did to Dixon. Should just say none of your damn business. Like,
None, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I seriously, Dixon, you're 25 years old. Do not ever ask who. Okay, right? Nanya, who? None of your damn business. It's like, I'm going to take out D. D's nuts. I'm taking them out. You just don't ever ask who. You're gonna get taken every time. But he has played it off. He's embraced that mistake of giving Will the opportunity to even answer that.
yeah, it was glorious.
That's what happens when you're young and naive and don't know old school jokes,
It's straight up like, but I say this, I feel like I say this every podcast. It's like such a Dixon. Like, people are seeing Dixon for, like, he is not playing up a different character. He is exactly who he is. I mean, he playing Vanquish. Like, can you check the confessional? Can you check the confessional? We're like, oh my God, we get it. We understand what you're trying to do here, Dixon. He's playing exactly his Dixon true self. And I say it every time. He should be unbelievably proud, and like everything's going to fall away no matter where he ends up. So,
you know what? He's going to head with 3 of the biggest reality players out there, biggest names, and he's holding his own. He is definitely holding his own. So he should be extremely proud of how far he's getting, and he's not out yet.
Yeah.
Who knows? He might be in there
He might
till
take
the
it all the
end.
way. Yeah.
True.
So, no, I think he's doing great. And like I said, I'm a little bit worried about the short game, but if he makes it through a couple weeks, he could slide off the radar,
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, there's also the strategy David talked about a few weeks ago where I love the confessional where he's like, I want to take him to the end and I'll crush him.
He would though too. Like, let's not get it. I mean, they're like using Dixon as like they're squatting. So I mean,
Yeah.
But again, I think that so far at least the challenges are more equitable.
Yeah.
So even the last seasons, it was a rope, but it was 2 women. So it was equitable. If it had been a man and a woman, that challenge may have been switched up a little bit to make it kind of equal footing so that one physical dominant player doesn't just walk away with it where I think I'll go out to dinner and come back and catch the end because I already know David's going to win.
right.
I don't see that happening. And I'm excited for it. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm proud of Dixon. I think he's doing a great job. He's holding his own. He got in with this alliance, the family, though.
The family.
The family.
I think the family's going to be his downfall ultimately, because now with MG gone, who do you think? David, Parvati, Dixon. Who's the most disposable internally?
Oh, Dixon 100%. But I do think my predictions, and these are just my private, like, know nothing about it, but just knowing Parvati and everybody knows her secret, and if they are still holding on to, like, why didn't you tell us, even though like half the cast knew, I could see Parvati go, you know what I mean? I could see David maybe being like, Parvati's a dangerous player, and I know that she's a dangerous player. Dixon's just little old Dixon over here. I could see David being like, I think Parvati needs to be the disposable one and just like let her go.
I could see that too, especially because it seems like David does have this nice bond with Dixon. Like he obviously
does.
Bonding well with Parvati too, but it's more of like we both know how powerful we are. And I could see him trying to make a move because from what we've seen on Australian Survivor, David likes to be the one with the most power.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The golden god.
The golden god has risen again.
It's risen again.
But I think he's playing a kinder, gentler golden god here because nobody knows him.
Right.
I mean, even Parvati, who knows him, she doesn't necessarily know how he played. He was vicious.
Yeah.
Vicious.
The way he treated Phoebe in All Stars was just brutal.
It really was. And could he do the same thing to Dixon? Sure he could.
100%.
Will he? I don't think so, because I think Dixon is his path to the end. And if Dixon goes out, if Dixon goes out earlier, I don't think it's because of Parvati and David. I think that Dixon's high on the list to get rid of because of last week.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Well, anything else before we close out this week's recap?
No, I think this is a good recap. Thanks, Kim, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Kim.
Good having you.
Well, thank you so much, you guys, for having me on here. This was so fun and, creepy Muppet family and all. Welcome to Thanksgiving dinner, you guys. And be sure and bring your hats for the next Weasel meeting and learn the song before the meeting begins. Okay.
We will be on it next time.
Thanks, you guys, so much. Love the Vanquish family. Y'all are great.
Oh, we love you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
with
guys.
that, we will see you all next time on the Tribe of Nerds.